buongiorno. All right, I'm going to make one of my all-time favorite, if not my favorite, aperitif beverages. And this is the Aperol Spritz, which suddenly kind of popped into a fashionable bar scene here in the last year in the States, but it's a go-to in Italy, but there are requirements. It has to be sunny, it has to be warm, and you have to consume it outside, right? If you can follow these rules, you too can enjoy the Aperol Spritz aperitif. We have our glass of ice.
Oh my gosh, how are you?
I'm good, how are you?
Yes, awesome. I'm so happy we got to video chat at least.
Yeah, I mean, it's something.
I mean, and you're in Italy. Oh my gosh.
I know, right? I thought this
I see a beautiful place behind you.
I thought we'd just have a little drink on the beach, you know, why not?
Yeah, and what other place better than Positano?
See.
I do have, you're having a spritz.
I'm outside. It's sunny.
Yeah, well, you're the honorary Italian and you makes me proud, so.
What are you? You look so fancy. Is that?
I'm having Prosecco. I was thinking about, like, I live in Venice now, so the region just outside Venice has been declared like part of UNESCO World Heritage, so it's like I'm gonna cheer that. So yeah,
that's
Prosecco
exciting.
for me.
That sounds like a wonderful thing to toast.
Salute, as we say in Italian.
Salute. What's the weather like there right now?
It's warming up. Remembering May last year, that was super freezing.
Really?
This May,
Normal?
that of course we had the lockdown. It's like super sunny and beautiful weather. So, you know, it's how things go.
Yeah, yeah. Is it normal for it to be that cold and rainy in May?
No, I mean, that was exceptional. But that was also the year when it froze on Mount Etna.
What is your name? What do you do? Tell me a little about yourself.
Well, I'm Alexa. And, well, I live in Venice now. I moved to Venice 3 years ago because of love. Oh, l'amore. Takes you to ways that you never thought ever to go to eventually, but here I am. And I'm a tour manager. I was a tour manager. I am a tour manager. I will be a tour manager whenever tourism will get back on track, which I'm pretty confident it will someday.
How do you like Venice? Because you were living outside of Rome before,
It's been
right?
tough at the beginning. All these bridges with shopping bags and groceries.
That's true.
Being used to drive from my house to the supermarket, put your groceries into the car, drive back home, take the elevator. Moving into Venice was tough at the beginning, but right now I don't think I would like to live anywhere else in the world.
Especially now, I guess it must be quite different because normally in the summer it gets really crowded, right?
Oh, yes. I don't think I've ever seen Venice this empty ever.
Probably needs the break. I mean, maybe not the economy, but the environment
and the Venetians themselves also. I think, yeah, like a break from all the madness. It's a wild jungle sometimes, can be.
Yeah, you don't think about things like that, like taking groceries. We never think about the practical aspect. How often do you take water taxis?
As a Venetian?
Yeah.
Never.
Oh.
Well, to go from north to south or east to west, it can take you maybe 45 minutes. It's a really small island. So you take transportation whenever you have to move to the islands. If you want to go to the beach, to Lido, if you want to go to Murano, to Burano, that's when you mainly get the Vaporetto, as we call them. It's like a public bus, but on water. So us Venetians, we never take the water taxi because that's super expensive. A flat fee starts from 60 euros, but we do take the Vaporetto every now and then when we need, again, to jump off the islands. Yep. And plus, it's like walking in Venice all over the bridges is like going to the gym. So you can skip the gym and practice like that.
That's true. And you just go walk far to get pizza on the other side of town, and then
or get your spritz or get your gelato or and you don't feel guilty for it.
La dolce vita, right? I love it.
Oh, see.
Well, so you travel a lot. You're in the tourism industry, and you know Italy in particular very, very well. I like to ask this, especially to my travel professional friends and colleagues. If someone could only go and see one thing in Italy, what would you recommend?
It's hard. Like, that's the hardest question probably ever for me. And not just because I'm in tourism, working in the tourism, but all of our places are so different. If you were to love architecture, archaeology, and ancient Roman, I would say Rome. Pompeii, if you love the history of Pompeii, because whenever you go into that park, it's like you're walking through a Roman city. But if you were to love Renaissance, I will say Florence, because Florence was the cradle of Renaissance. If you love the mix in between Orient, the magical part of mystery, I would say Venice. So it's so hard. It's so hard to pick just one. It depends what your best interest, what your interests are.
That's fair.
It's not an easy question. Oh
I know.
Okay, if you love fashion, you would go to Milan. So it depends.
Okay, well, how about maybe this one? What do you think? This might be hard too. I don't know. What do you think is the most overrated place in Italy?
I don't know. I don't think we have an overrated place in Italy. If I could say that.
I really do love Italy. No, it's funny.
Me being super extremely Italian right now, it's like, we don't have enough. Because wherever you go, you have like nice people, nice food, nice wine. Pick a region and I'll give you a city or a place where you go and you'll love it.
It's honestly fair, because I was sitting here thinking, like, yeah, what would I say?
You may think the Colosseum, right? Everybody talks about the Colosseum, but at the same time, you're seeing the Colosseum standing in front of it and you're like, this is almost 2,000 years old, and like you're like touching the walls. I mean, I literally have like shivers right now as I'm talking, goosebumps. And it's like, this cannot be overrated. Probably the most visited monument we have in Italy, but it cannot be overrated.
All right,
yeah,
you're off the hook. So basically Italy is perfect, and
I think so.
All right, well, drink to that.
There you go. See, salute.
You are obviously, look at you, you're very elegant. And I have to say, some of my favorite purchases I've made in life have been in your presence.
I was waiting for you to get to that. I don't know why. I felt it. I sensed it.
We did spend basically an entire summer together. So, but yes, you are just one of the most fashionable people I know. How did you get into the fashion world and just your love of fashion and your sharp eye?
Well, grazie. I'm honored. Like, thank you. I think that it's been since forever. Like, little by little, just trying to mix and match stuff since I was a kid. I would blame it, I think, on my grandma, because she is super fashionable since forever. I mean, I saw photos of her in her youth, so it's probably in my DNA somehow.
I bet
I'll blame it to that. Social media helps a lot because you get to be physically in touch with all of the brands. You get to see all behind the scenes, how a bag is being made, how what jewelry is being made. You can understand better like why those shoes were made in that way, using that kind of leather.
And I mean, it's art and craftsmanship.
I mean, I spend a lot of time on social media is following like all those brands, name it from Furlane shoes, which were the shoes gondoliers I used to wear when rowing the gondola in Venice in the 1400s, to Manolo Blahnik, and seeing again how a shoe gets to be born. It's like being pregnant and you give birth to a shoe. To be part of it, because by watching it and getting to know everything behind it is like being part of the story.
Yeah.
So
I love
that has a lot to do with my love for fashion.
Your Instagram feed is fun to watch. It's beautiful.
Thank you. I have fun.
It's getting too hot under the sun here with this on. I'm like,
Oh, sole mio.
Brought my sunglasses. So before we leave the world of fashion, do you have a particular trend, whether it's a trend out in the world or a trend for you right now that you just love?
So if I was to invest into anything, I'd spend my money in jewelry and bags. Having a high-end brand product on you, it would like pump your outfit, even if you were to wear, I don't know, H&M or Zara, which most of my clothing is. But having that Gucci belt or Chanel purse or whatever brand will like make you stand out from among of everybody else. That's how I envision fashion and high brands.
So of course, everywhere I've traveled on this show, I've talked about a little bit about the pandemic and what life has been like in each country. I like to showcase that we're all in this together, but of course, I think a lot of us here in the States would say it was sadly thanks to Italy that we started to really pay attention. So you went through so much before we did, and some of us noticed and really had a call to action. So you're ahead of the game. What has your daily life been like the past couple of months?
Okay, I'm gonna start with a sip of this because I need this.
That's fair. That is so fair.
Yeah, as you said, somehow, I'm just saying somehow because I'm still trying to figure this out. We were the first European country to be affected, like super affected by the coronavirus. I was in Venice. I was living in Venice at the time when the pandemic started here in Italy. And I remember it was 21st of February. I mean, I remember dates, exactly dates and timings of the day, because we were like bombed with the news. Everybody was talking about this patient zero that's in Lombardy, in the northern part of Italy, where Milan is. Milan is the capital of Lombardy. So I'm just going to pause that for a second because I want to make sure that everybody knows that Italy has 60-something million inhabitants. As dimensions, we're pretty much as big as the state of Arizona, because a lot to do had with the populous density that Italy has. We have a very old population. So that was also probably one of the things that made Italy to be one of the first countries to be hit. And it happened again in Lombardy, which is one of the main regions when it comes to industry. It happened during the fashion week that we had in Milan in February. I remember Giorgio Armani was to have his runaway show, and he decided to do it without the public. Then it got spread in the other northern regions, which also happened to be Veneto. In Venice, we were having the carnival. The carnival ends on the Tuesday. Well, the ending got anticipated by 2 days. So it ended on a Sunday when we usually have the Flight of the Angel happening in Piazza San Marco, in San Marco Square. Then a certain area in Veneto was declared a red zone that was literally shut down in quarantine for 14 days. Along with other cities in Lombardy. Then March 7, 2020, our Prime Minister goes live on national television declaring 14 red zones. That meant that the whole region of Lombardy was supposed to be quarantined. And that was also the weekend when Women's Day happened. A lot of the travelers were already in Milan. A lot of the students, a lot of people, they made a call literally 10 p.m. in the night to take the train and go back to wherever they came from. So you could see like in the TV the day after the announcement from the Prime Minister, like these seas of people at Milano Centrale trying to take the last train out of Milan because they thought they would have been like locked down and not able to leave. After that, it only took 4 days for the Prime Minister to call it a national lockdown. And since March 11th, the whole country has been in lockdown until May the 4th. That's when phase 2 started. So that meant that nobody could leave the region they were in unless it was for emergencies, like sanitary emergencies, proved business reasons.
And this is during the lockdown? From March.
During the lockdown, yeah, for like 2 months. All the airports were shut down. All the borders were shut down. We were only allowed to leave one member per family to go and do the grocery shopping, wearing a mask and gloves. You're not allowed to enter a shop without a mask and gloves. You're not even allowed to touch stuff at the market. It's only the vendor that will like put them into the bags and give it to you. And there's police controlling that.
I was going to say, how is that enforced if you're caught wandering around without a mask and gloves?
Whoever is in charge doing those controls, they can give you a fine. Right now in Veneto, the fine goes in between 400 euros up to 3,000 euros.
Oh, wow.
If you're not wearing a mask. And it actually helped. It helped. We got our curve to be flattened down. Our ICUs are like breathing again right now, not being able to give like the medical assistance because we have a socialized medicine system in Italy. So everybody is allowed, has the right to be admitted in the hospital and has the right to be cured. Not being allowed to provide that is what maybe made our government to declare the national lockdown. We did have like people not being treated for other diseases, surgeries being postponed because they needed those beds to treat people with coronavirus. And I'm drinking to phase 2 right now, yes! So we're in phase 2 bis right now. So the first phase 2 is that they opened shops that are selling kids clothing. There were like a huge request for those. They allowed some other industries that were not to be considered necessary. The second phase 2 that was declared, when was it? 2-3 days ago. Our government, like national government, gave power to the region. Our regions are pretty much like your states. So each and every region decides its own ways and regulations. Everything is open right now. Restaurants are open, all shops, including hotels that were never closed by law. They were just closed because there were no tourists. I mean, they can reopen if they were to. But we still are required to wear masks whenever we go outside. From what I've heard, if the numbers will be going well, Italy should open the borders to the European Union countries with no quarantine required whenever they touch Italian soil on June the 3rd. And these are rumors from Brussels saying that eventually the European Union will open the borders to non-European countries on June 15th. But again, rumors.
I feel like Americans are going to be banned from everywhere for at least a year.
I hope not.
One day, one beautiful day when everything's lifted and we can go out into the world. Where is the first place you want to go?
I want to go to Rome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to see my people in Rome. Yeah, the first place I'd go.
It will end one day and we're going to be a different world when we emerge. Hopefully a little smarter.
That's what I'm hoping. Are you okay?
I am. Yeah. Allergies, I swear.
I am literally afraid of even cough in public. I have really bad allergies.
Well, I guess it's one way to keep people away from you, though. You don't have to worry about them not observing 6 feet distance. Grazie mille for spending the time with me on the coast here.
It was a huge pleasure. I'm saying bye from San Marco Square here in Venice.
Beautiful. Enjoy and grazie. Be safe. Be happy.
Prego. Ciao. Salute to you.